Hello and welcome to Encore. Today we have a rather arty lineup for you. First up, Pharrell the feminist. The jack-of-all-trades musician turns his hand to contemporary art with a new show here in Paris celebrating women. Plus, Easy Rider, we check out an exhibition in Norway that showcases the free lifestyle stereotype of the Hells Angels bikers. And the power of portraiture. We meet British artist Guy Denning as his emotive work goes on display here in Paris in his show The Party Is Over. First, is there anything Pharrell Williams can't do? The Grammy award-winning Neptune's producer, fashion designer and global superstar has now branched out into contemporary art, curating his very own exhibition here in Paris. The show is called Girl, just like his new album, and Pharrell says it's about celebrating all women. Over&quot's Pharrell Williams went along to see if the singer, known for dancing with half-naked females, can successfully blur the lines between rap and women's rights.
Pharrell Williams, the man with many hats and the Midas touch. Already a singer, songwriter, producer and designer, he's now the curator of a contemporary art exhibition in Paris. He's teamed up with longtime friend and gallery owner Galerie Perrotin for the month-long show Girl.
I want to learn and, to be able to collaborate with these artists and walk around in their spaces. You're walking around in their minds. That's no university can offer you that.
Girl is also the name of Pharrell's latest album. He says the intriguing title symbolises his love for women. Almost half the 37 artists exhibiting a female. Pharrell says he's putting the record straight on his attitude towards the opposite sex. Less than a year ago, he was criticised for appearing in this music video as one of 3 fully dressed men being serenaded by 3 semi-naked women.
I'm sure when people seen it at first, they thought, oh, a bunch of men just gonna da-da-da-da-da. But it was actually written by a woman. The way that I see women is I love them in every way. I make no apologies for my, the wide spectrum of affinity for women, from A to Z.
The exhibition may be dedicated to the ladies, but Pharrell, seen here on his wedding day, is a prominent feature throughout. He's depicted as Napoleon discovering Egypt, and he chose to stand still for several hours, breathing only through a straw, to pose for this artist's sculpture. More naked women also feature heavily. Pharrell is worth an estimated 56 million euros, according to Forbes, and brand Pharrell sells. But Galerie Perrotin insists the pair aren't in it for the money, it's the art that counts.
If you look around, there are no sponsors here. And believe me, there were as many that wanted to get involved as there are artists. My relationship with Pharrell was already well known, so I don't think we needed it.
Nevertheless, whatever Pharrell touches appears to turn to gold. From music to fashion to modern art, his followers are wondering what trick he'll next pull out of his hat.
Well, staying with the world of art, a new exhibition in Oslo is seeing a notorious subculture go mainstream in a gallery setting. Angels from Hell showcases images and artifacts of the ultimate group of hardcore bikers, the Hells Angels. Norway's Museum of Cultural History is hosting the show alongside a series of talks and debates about the cultural significance of the Easy Rider lifestyle. It's part of a series of exhibits centred on the idea of social freedoms and comes as the Hells Angels are trying to shake off their negative image after some members were linked to organised crime in Norway. Well, talking of mixing social commentary and art, I'm delighted to welcome to the show now artist Guy Denning. Hello, Guy. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Your latest show here in Paris is called The Party Is Over. It's a series of portraits, often with newspaper articles behind them, which lends quite a political subtext. Can you explain, first of all, what the title of the exhibition means?
It's about looking at how our generation, or probably the last generation, that have benefited from the abundant resources that the planet have had, and it's our children that basically have got to face the repercussions of our parents and our grandparents' successes, and usage of those easy to find resources.
Right, your paintings are often conveying really strong emotions as well. You do this through using really powerful brushstrokes and actually scratching the paint. Can you explain a bit more about your technique?
The technique, I mean, I like to refer to, I like to look at sort of the art, the history of art, look at the painters like Rembrandt in particular, anybody that puts emotion into their work. I mean, I'm not a great fan of art that investigates art, which is where a lot of conceptual contemporary art is at. It's interesting and I understand it, but personally for me, I think it's too insular to the art world and it restricts the audience. And I think for the ordinary public, for people who aren't schooled in art history, they feel art has to move at an emotional level, so that's why I like to work there.
Which brings me to my next two questions, actually. Firstly, you were part of two artistic movements. One is the neo-modern group, and the other one was the Stuckist movement, which, for those who aren't familiar with the terms, Stuckist means, in its manifesto, it says that it's a quest for authenticity, whereas neo-modernism seeks greater simplicity. So, like you say, kind of going against this contemporary art and abstract art, but you've said before that you're no longer part of those and that you're just an artist. Do you believe it's useful to belong to a movement, or do you think it can pigeonhole you?
It can pigeonhole me because I was never formally a Stuckist. I allied myself with the Stuckists because, I mean, I wrote the neo-modernist manifesto. And I felt that we had, in some respects, similar concerns. Yes, it can pigeonhole you, which is why I said, what we stood for, that we've made our point, and the time is to move on. I mean, there are people, who were one of the founders of the Stuckist movement. The last time I met him, I felt a little bit sympathetic for him because he seemed to be spending all of his time railing against the contemporary art world and not getting on with his work, and I said, you need to be painting, So it's no objection. I don't have any ideological objection to any kind of art, but personally I feel art should reflect what I want to do, which is, painting.
You mentioned art history before. You actually studied art history. It was partly because you didn't get into art schools, and rejection from universities and galleries is very much part of your story. Do you think that not having any formal art training has helped shape your work?
Oh, it's definitely helped. I mean, it's driven me more to do what I want to do. Because if it's something you really have to do and you're rejected, you just become increasingly bitter and twisted and more focused on achieving what you want. But also it allowed me to study what I wanted to study, rather than being driven down avenues of research by lecturers who had their personal interests. So yeah, it was beneficial.
You've lived here in France for several years now, and you were involved in a project called Le Tour Paris 13, or Paris 13, which was a building that the city of Paris let street artists come and decorate it with their artwork. It's not the first time you've been involved in street art. Is this something that's also informed your work?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was doing, my background in street art does not come from the kind of hip-hop, New York tradition. It's more related actually to the origins of contemporary street art in France, where you had the 68ers putting slogans on walls. My background in punk in the UK was where I came from. I was doing political messaging, pasting up political slogans and political images, and I was not involved in doing I lived in a rural area. I wasn't going to sort of try and do New York subway painting in a rural town where people were losing their jobs, southwest of Bristol. It just wasn't relevant. So, and yeah, I bring that aspect, the text, the politics, the stenciled letters, using bits of newspaper. I bring that into my painting, and now I'm starting to bring aspects of my painting that in oil, even though I'm not using oil, I try to bring it into my street art.
Okay, well, just quickly, you've achieved quite a high level of recognition now and success. What's next for you? What else is in the pipeline?
It's to carry on doing what I'm doing, hopefully doing it better and stronger. I'm also working on a book project that I've been working on for about 20 years. So I'd like to try and get some more done on that this year.
From street art to paintings to novels?
Not a novel exactly, not a novel, but it's art related.
All right, well, thank you so much, Guy, for coming in to speak to us. We have to leave it there, unfortunately, but we really appreciate you taking the time. Also, for you at home, just a reminder, you can catch Guy's exhibition, The Party is Over, until the end of the month here in Paris at the Brugière Rue Galerie. We're going to finish the show now with some images of a project Guy was involved in called Crimes of Minds, where street artists from around the world came to Brest in Brittany, here in France, to paint murals and redecorate the city. Until next time, don't forget you can get more culture news on our social networks and website. Enjoy and see you soon.
All right, well, what time is the latest that you can go drop off my laundry?
After 10. My show is at 10.
What show is that?
My show. I want the show from 9 to 10.
I know, which one is it though? What's the name of that one?
It's in the river.
I know, but which one?
¿Cómo se llama? Mañana para siempre.
Órale.